So you see how the devotees who worship you as shelter all being disregard that and place their feet on it. So what's the difference? Why the devotees are becoming fearless and why the non-devotees are becoming frightened? Perhaps I think you know the example of the kitten, the cat carrying the kitten and carrying the rat, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
You know where it is or not?
Oh, there's a
I
verse
think
about that.
yeah, it is there in 412.
Uh-huh.
You go to do me a search, go 412. Bhagavatam 412. The
Yes, Prabhu.
verse is that when what's his name? Durva Maharaj places his head on death and he goes,
Uh-huh. Yes, Prabhu.
In that verse, the purport is there, that example is given.
It's 4:12:30.
4:12:30, huh? Let's see, you read the...
Yeah, in the purport it's there. A cat carries a kitten in its mouth and it also catches a rat in its mouth.
Okay, 4:12:30, we'll go to that. Someone want to read this?
Giriji, are putting?
Yeah. When Dhruva Maharaja was attempting to get on the transcendental plane, he saw death personified approach him. Not caring for death, however, he took the advantage of opportunity to put his feet on the head of death, and thus he got up on the plane, which was as big as the house.
So you see here how death approach, and Dhruva Maharaj was not frightened, he was fearless. In fact, he put his leg on the top of death and climbed on the plane. Can you read?
To take the passing away of a devotee and the passing away of a non-devotee as one and the same is completely misleading. While ascending the transcendental plane, Dhruva Maharaja suddenly saw death personified before him, and he was not afraid. Instead of death giving him trouble, Dhruva Maharaja when Dhruva Maharaja boarded the airplane, he took the advantage of arrival of the death personified, who came to offer him obeisances. Putting his feet on the head of the death, got up the unique airplane, which is described here as big as a graham. There are many other similar instances in Bhagavata literature. It is stated that when Karma Muni created an aeroplane to carry his wife Devahuti all over the universe, the aeroplane was like a big city, carrying many houses, lakes, and gardens. Modern scientists have manufactured big airplanes, but they are packed with passengers who experience.
Where is that? The cat that... Oh. Okay, never mind, that's enough. You can see this point here. This is what we want to know more.
Super.
See this.
No, still.
Yes. In this connection, an example can be given. Cat carries its kittens in its mouth, and it also catches a rat in its mouth. Superficially, of the rat then appear to be one and the same, but actually not. When the cat catches the rat in its mouth, it means death for the rat. Whereas when the cat catches the kitten enjoys it.
So you see, this is a very good example of how the devotees face death, why the devotees are called Akutobaya, fearless, you know. You understand? So
Prabhuji,
uh,
I have, can I ask something here or can I
yeah,
ask later?
what question is that?
Prabhuji, when it says that the death comes, what does it mean? Like somebody comes to us, or it's just a passing away from the body to the outside. The soul traverses like that.
Okay, very good question. Huh? So how does the death comes? Huh?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So when it comes to a devotee, you saw this now. You see this verse here. You see this? Correct.
Yeah.
So here death came as a person. He want to actually receive Maharaj because he's going away, you know.
Hmm.
But when death comes for, I see the example of the cat and the kitten, you know. So for one who is sinful, then the death will become very fearful, you know. Like when they see the Yamadutas trying to take him away.
Hmm.
They are passing stool and urine, you know, they are very frightened, they're screaming. You understand?
Yes.
Because you are a devotee, then everybody want to associate with you. But if you are not a devotee, then just like the policeman, you know, policeman is friendly to the law-abiding citizen. But one who is a thief or a crook, then he is very frightened seeing the policeman, no?
Hmm.
You understand? So now you see, I've explained to this extent that how the devotees and the non-devotees, you know, they see. So now we want to go to another place where we want to see how Parichit Maharaj, you know, he's preparing himself. I'll go to that place. Huh? You can see. Sukadev Goswami said, after hearing all that was narrated to him by the self-realized and equiposed Sukadev, the son of Vyasadev, Maharaj Parichit humbly approached his lotus feet. Bowing his head down upon the sage feet, the king who had lived his entire life under the protection of Lord Vishnu folded his hands in supplication and spoke as follows. Maharaj Parichit said, I have now achieved the purpose of my life because a great and merciful soul like you has shown such kindness to me. You have personally spoken to me, narration of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, who is without beginning or end. I do not consider it at all amazing that great souls such as yourself, whose mind are always absorbed in the infallible personality of Godhead, show mercy to the foolish, conditioned souls, tormented as we are by the problems of material life. I have heard from you the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the perfect summary of all Puranas, and which perfectly describe the Supreme Lord Uttama Sloka. Now this is the point I'm trying to make. My Lord, I now have no fear of Takshaka or any other living being or even of repeated death because I have absorbed myself in that purely spiritual absolute truth which you have revealed and which destroys all fear. You understand this point? Then he says again, O Brahmana, please give me permission to resign my speech and function of all my senses unto Lord Ajoksaja. Allow me to absorb my mind, purified or lusty desires within him, and to thus give up my life. It is, you have revealed to me that which is most auspicious, the supreme personal feature of the Lord. I am now fixed in knowledge and self-realization, and my ignorance has been eradicated. Thus requested the saintly son Vyasadeva gave his permission to King Parikshit, and then after being worshipped by the king and all sages present, Sukadev departed from that place. Yeah. So you see how then you see, of course, and this is an important verse also. Maharaj Parikshit then sat down on the bank of Ganges upon a seat made of darba grass with the tips of his stalk facing east and turned towards the north. Having attained the perfection of yoga, he experienced full self-realization and was free of material attachment and doubt. The saintly king settled his mind within his spiritual self by pure intelligence and proceeded to meditate upon the supreme absolute truth. His life has ceased to move and he became stationary as a tree. So you see, you understand this. So the point is that this is how we have to also come. Although we are now very healthy and strong, but we are also going to come to that situation where we are going to face death, you know.
And we may not be so fortunate enough to be surrounded by such great sages and probably devotees. So, how do we maintain that kind of frame of mind?
That is a very good question. We all failed, you know, last life, huh?
Definitely. Several lifetimes.
Failing and failing, you know.
Mm.
Correct.
Yes, Prabhu.
We've always been failing. Hmm? So how to come to that position? Hmm? What is your suggestion?
By constantly chanting and following all the rules and regulations.
I'm sure you're also trying to constantly chant and follow rules and regulations, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
The mind is still going like a yo-yo, isn't it?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hmm? Correct.
Yeah.
So therefore, our our say, our only hope now is the mercy of our spiritual master.
Mm.
Srila Prabhupada told us that if you can follow the four principles and chant 16 rounds, then you be rest assured that you're going home back to the spiritual world. And in that audience, one sannyasi was looking and Prabhupada saw him, he was not too convinced. But Prabhupada again repeated the same line, that if you follow the four principles and chant 16 rounds, you will definitely go home back to the spiritual world. So our assurance is that if we can manage to follow the instruction of Prabhupada, chant 16 rounds and try to follow the four principles, then yes, we are definitely going back to Godhead. But now, the devotees do not take up this role like the Christians and the Muslims who think that they are saved, That's not the mood of a devotee. The devotee always feels that he is the most fallen. He does not go around parading that I am safe and you're going to hell. He doesn't do that. That is not humility. A humble devotee thinks that everybody is going back and I am not going back. Understand? So this again, there's a difference in the consciousness of the devotee and the non-devotee, including the impersonalists and the demigod worshippers and all. They're all so much into their bodily concept, they become very proud. Whereas a devotee, although he is going back to Godhead, he always feels himself that he is not capable. So the devotee should always maintain that humility. I have explained that I don't know, you may not have been in that class. So nevertheless, I will go back and explain that point again to you, which is very important. That, this is actually the part of Ajamil. So here, I'm going to show you this verse. So now where we're going, just one verse before this, so that you know what I'm talking about. After hearing the discourses between the Yamadutas and the Vishnudutas, Ajamil could understand the religious principle that act under the three modes of material nature. These principles are mentioned in the three Vedas, and he could also understand the transcendental religious principles which are above the modes of material nature, which concern the relationship between the living being and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Furthermore, Ajamil heard glorification of the name, fame, qualities, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He thus became a perfectly pure devotee. He could then remember his past sinful activities, which he greatly regretted having performed. Now, this point has to be understood very clearly. He became a pure devotee and he didn't develop, 4 hands and 4 head and 4 legs, Understand? He immediately understood the thing that how he remembered his past sinful activities and he regretted having performed them. This is the underlying factor or point in a pure devotee's consciousness. A pure devotee is not puffed up, that he forgets all his past doings and he acts like a big, hero or something. No. The first thing that happens is for a devotee is that he remembers his past sinful life and he regrets having performing them. Now going on to the next verse. Ajamil said, Alas, being a servant of my senses, how degraded I became. I fell down from my position as a duly qualified Brahmana and begot children in the womb of a prostitute. See, he started regretting his actions. Now we go on reading again. Alas, all condemnation upon me. I acted so sinfully that I degraded my family tradition. Indeed, I gave up my chaste and beautiful young wife to have sexual intercourse with a fallen prostitute, accustomed to drinking wine. All condemnation upon me. See that? My father and mother were old and had no other son or friend to look after them. Because I did not take care of them, they lived with great difficulty. Alas, like an abominable low class man, I ungratefully left them in that condition. See how he is regretting his past sinful life. It is now clear that as a consequence of such activities, a sinful person like me must be thrown into hellish condition, meant for those who have broken religious principle and must there suffer extreme miseries. He is a consciousness, he is pure devotee. Already he's been stopped from going to hell. But you see how he is thinking. No, 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 I should be put into hell. I should be punished. This is the two different thinking. A devotee is never proud. That's the number one point. He cannot be proud because that is a disqualification. He is always be thinking he is the most horrible person. He is the most fallen. He is the most rascal. This is how we always be thinking. This thing cannot be artificially done. No? It is said here, because he became a pure devotee, he started thinking like this. Unless you are pure devotee, only you can think like this. And if you are not pure devotee, then you will always think that you are the best. I am saved. Everything is from me only, by my will, my power. That is the mind of a person who is contaminated. You know. Was this a dream I saw, or is it reality? I saw a fearsome man with rope in their hands coming to arrest me and drag me away. Where have they gone? Huh? Is that? So I'm going to read this. And where have those four liberated and very beautiful persons gone who released me from their arrest and saved me from being dragged down to hellish regions? I am certainly most abominable and unfortunate to have merged in an ocean of sinful activities. But nevertheless, because of my previous spiritual activity, I could see those four exalted personalities who came to rescue me. Now I feel exceedingly happy because of their visit. Were it not for my past devotional service, how could I, a most unclean keeper of a prostitute, have gotten a opportunity to chant the holy name of Vaikuntha Pati when I was just ready to die? It certainly could not have been possible. I am a shameless cheater who has killed his Brahminical culture. Indeed, I am sin personified. Where am I in comparison to the all auspicious chanting of the holy name of Lord Narayan? I am such a sinful person But since I have now gotten this opportunity, I must completely control my mind, life, and senses and always engage in devotional service so that I may not fall again into the deep darkness and ignorance of material life. So Ajamil is going on so many verses. So I'm just trying to highlight this one point that a devotee, uh, although he is in a very exalted position, but he always sees himself as the most fallen person. And this is the qualification of how one can be saved from the cycle of birth and death. As there's a saying, the meek and humble inherit the kingdom of God.
Mm.
Correct? You never say the proud and the egoistic person he goes back to God. I think there was a play, the Brahmana and the scholar. No, you know the story, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
All of you all know the story, right?
Maybe not all here, Prabhu. It'll be
All right.
nice to hear from you
Oh, really?
once again.
All right. I don't like to have this class too long, but nevertheless, there was a proud Brahmin who know the four Vedas in and out. Like me. I know. I claim very proud. So he, was chanting his mantras, and one day Narada Muni came by and he received Narada, and he asked Narada Muni, where are you going? So I'm going to Vaikuntha. He said, oh, you're going to Vaikuntha. So can you find out? I have one question. How many more years I have to spend in this material earth? So this proud Brahmin asked Narada Muni this question. And Narada said, yes, okay, no problem. I will ask Narayan, how many years you got more. So just going a little distance, Narada met a cobbler who also treated Narada very nicely. And he asked also the same question evidently. And Narada said, okay, I'm also going to Vaikuntha. I'll find out how many more years you have. So then Narada went to the spiritual world. He met by, Narayan. And after all the formalities, he asked Narada. Narada asked the Lord this question. I met two people, they asked this question. So then the Lord explained that for the Brahmin scholar, he has got 100 more lives. And for the cobbler, he has as many lives as the trees. He was apparently under one banyan tree. And he says, as many leaves are there on that tree, that many years you will spend on the earth. So then the Narada said, okay, I will go and relay this message. But one more thing to clear. They will ask me, what were you doing when you answered this question? Then Lord replied, tell them that I was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle.
Mm.
Okay, Narada, he paid his obeisances and he came back. And he came and he went to this Brahmin. And the Brahmin said, oh, Narada, you're back. I did not know Vaikuntha was so short a distance. You came so quickly. He said, did you find out what I asked? He said, yes. The Lord says you have got 100 lives in this earth. The Brahmin said, nonsense. I know the Vedas in and out. I have studied everything so thoroughly, and I'm a pandit, and I've got 100 lives. I don't believe. Anyway, what was the Lord doing when you asked him this question? Then say the Lord was putting an elephant through an eye of a needle. The immediately Brahmin said, rubbish. How could anyone put an elephant through the eye of a needle? He had no faith. See? So he was overly proud. So okay, Narada, said this thing and he left and he went to the cobbler. And the cobbler received him very well and asked, Narada Muni, you have seen the Lord? He said, yes. You has got many lives as there are trees. In this tree, there's so many leaves, as many lives you got. Wow. Then the cobbler, he started dancing. Wow. And Narada, you're not worried that you got so many lives? He says, no, at least there is numbers there. That many numbers only then. Anyway, what was the Lord doing? So he was putting an elephant through the eye of a needle. Then the Brahmin became more aesthetic. You see how powerful my Lord is. He's so inconceivable. He can do the impossible. He can put an elephant into the eye. Narada said, you accept this? He said, why not? I am sitting under this tree. This is a banyan tree. In this banyan tree, there's this fruit, and inside the fruit, there's so many seeds. And in each seed, there's a huge tree. If the Lord can put such a huge tree into this small little seed, why he can't put a big elephant into eye of a needle? Immediately, all the leaves in the tree fell, and only one leaf left, showing that the Brahmin has only one life more to go. So you see, this is what it is called faith. Once you have faith, you cannot get this faith if you are tied in this bodily concept of life. That's why this bodily concept of life, like this Brahmin, he was very proud. He was thinking he was a big scholar. Yeah, he is full of destination. Upadi, sarva upadi vinir muktam tat paratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesa sevanam bhakti yati. So that's why this bodily concept, it's very detrimental for spiritual advancement. If anybody wants to make spiritual advancement, first and foremost, you must give up this bodily identification. And the more you have the bodily identification, the more you will live in extreme fear. You understand? This is explained also. I will show you the verse that you can see why I have to show you evidences, no? See here, this one verse. Yaya sammohitam jiva atmanam trigunaatmakam paropi manyate nartam tatkritam cha vipajyate. See, due to the external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the three modes of material nature, thinks of himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reaction of material miseries. The moment he identifies with the body, see, this is what happens. So here in this verse, simply by one's giving oral reception of the Vedic literature, this feeling for loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of illusion, a fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. So in other words, if you don't go to Krishna consciousness, you identify with the body, then these three things come: lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. In Sanskrit, those who know a little bit of Sanskrit, Soka, Moha, and Bhaya Paha. Soka, Moha, and Bhaya. So immediately when you are in the bodily concept, you got lamentation, you got illusion, and you become fearful.
mm,
These are the three binding factors. To further explain this point, you know the verse, huh? Bayam Divitya. I think
mm.
it's 11 2 or
11 to 37.
right, 11 to 37.
Ayam Vidya Vinivesha Isagapedasya Vipariyasya.
So see, this is the thing. This is the word Baya. Bayam Divitya. Divitya means second, huh? The next thing. Anyway, the translation. Fear arises when a living entity misidentify himself with the material body, huh? Misidentify himself as the material body because of absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord. When the living entity thus turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as a servant of the Lord. This bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency of illusion called Maya. And therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord and under the guidance of bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept his worshipful deity and as his very life and soul. So this is the thing, that the moment we are in our bodily concept of life, we will be clouded by fear. So the moment we transcend the bodily concept of life and come to Krishna consciousness, then we can see things as they are. Okay, again, let's point this out a bit more to you. So in the Bhagavad Gita, this verse is there. When, however, one is enlightened with the knowledge by which Nisayan is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything as the sun lights up everything in daytime. In other words, when a person becomes spiritually enlightened, then he can, by that spiritual knowledge, sees everything very clearly. You understand? Now what does he see? What does he see? Now we are seeing all the bodies, man, woman, elephant, dog, cat, this, that. Huh? So that's what we are seeing now. Hmm? But what do we see? One, when one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge all fix in the Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgiving through complete knowledge and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. So what does he see? This is what he sees. This verse is very popular verse. Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmane Gavir Hastine Sunil Chaiva Swapakavecha Pandita Samadarshinaha. This is what he sees. This is what he sees. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and a gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, dog, and a dog-eater outcast. In other words, he sees all these living entities equally. How does he see? He sees the spirit soul in the heart rather than the body. You understand? So when he sees the spirit soul in the heart of all living entities, he also sees the super soul in the heart of all living entities as well. And because he is seeing the super soul of he is not afflicted by any fear. Just like Prahlad Maharaj, he was put into a lot of harassment, but he was not fearful. Why he was not fearful? Because he saw the Lord present with him. So when the devotee comes to that position where he is fully seeing the Lord, then nothing can affect him. He becomes free from fear. So, of course, that is a pure devotee. Now we are talking about ourselves. I may be I mean, talking about excluding you, maybe you are in a different level, but I can speak for myself. I'm very frightened. What to do? So we have to very strictly follow the principle given by our spiritual master. This is explained here. One must conquer the mode of passion and ignorance by developing the mode of goodness. And then one must become detached from the mode of goodness by promoting oneself to the platform of Sattva, Suddha Sattva. All this can be automatically done if one engages in the service of the spiritual master with faith and devotion. In this way, one can conquer the influence of the modes of nature. So our strength comes from our spiritual master. So if we can do that, then we should have no problem. Again, we must become humble. Humility, as you know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us, no? Trinadapi sunichena, taro api saisuna, amanina mandadena, kitaniya sadahari. One can only chant if you think oneself lower than straw in the street, more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sorts of sense prestige and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Constant.
So if we adopt this point, then definitely at the time of death, the Lord will always be with us. It is said in the Varaha Puranam, even if we don't remember the Lord at the time of death, because we are practicing devotional service very strictly, then the Lord will appear in our mind and save us.
Mm.
So you see how important this point are. So our whole attitude should be to develop that humility, one, to completely take shelter of spiritual master, and always remember our misdeeds, all this nonsense we have done. And by meditating on that, we'll always be without any pride, and naturally we will be humble like Ajamil, example. And in this way, we have become the right candidate for going home back to Godhead. If we do not do this, if we try to think that we are very advanced, then we will fall down. Pride goes before fall. So, okay, I think too much talking will bore you. I don't want to waste your time. I know you
No,
all are
not
very
at all.
busy people. Sunday is a day for you to relax. All right, I open the thing for any questions you want to discuss, ask something, anything.
Yes, Prabhu, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, Prabhupada says we have to chant 16 rounds and follow the four regulative principles. So, this is from the point of initiation until the point of death, right, Prabhu? So, if in case a devotee, due to some reason, he is unable to follow the principles or his chanting is not up to the mark, and if he repents about it, he regrets about it, how can he come back again on to the track? Because there are so many devotees who come and apply themselves and then eventually they leave or they are not very serious. So for them to again come back and plead the mercy of the Lord and
See,
the spiritual control.
there is no problem actually for a devotee who have taken up the path and he leaves. Arjuna was asked this question, correct, in the Bhagavad Gita, you know, right? Chapter 6, text 37 or something, right? Can we read that?
Yes,
Let's read it, no? So we all will know.
yes, Prabhu.
So Arjuna was asking this question also. I think 637, no?
Yeah. O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism?
Can read again?
Oh, here's different. 38, 37 over there.
Yeah. So, oh mighty Ama
O
Krishna.
mighty Ram Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in any sphere?
Read on.
This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt.
See, all these questions are very relevant, you know. Yeah.
Hmm.
Firstly, it says what happens to a person who does devotional service and then falls away. Huh? Does he lose everything because he's not successful? And then here in this
Hmm.
question, I'm asking you specifically because only you can answer this. You know why he says like that? Because to see the position of the soul, where he is going, what he's going to do, this is only in the hands of the Lord.
Hmm.
Nobody else can understand this. Karmana deviga netrena. You understand? This is very intricate, you know, where the soul is going to go, how much he has done, where the, all these are impossible for any common man to deduce. The Arjuna's questions and answers are very, very, you know, specific, you know, to the point. Of course, then the Lord replies in this very, you know, important verse. He says here, can read?
Yes, Prabhu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Son of Pratha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil.
So a devotee, a little endeavor saves him from the greatest danger. Yes?
Hmm. Hmm.
So whatever he has done, there's no loss. So if he has fallen away, there's credit to whatever he has done already. So because it says it may take many lives, you know, or he may take one
Hmm.
life. All depends on how much the person is surrendering himself. But at least we should not go into that position. We should
Hmm.
not think that yes, you know, whatever I have done is no loss. I will just do as little I can. You know, eventually it will all add up anyway. No,
Hmm.
one
Hmm.
should not go into that kind of consciousness. One should try to stop the cycle of birth and death immediately.
Hmm.
That's why Prahlad Maharaj said, you know, he says here, okay, here, you see this?
Prahlad Maharaj said, one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life, in other words, from the tender age of childhood, to practice the activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagements. The human body is most rarely achieved, and although temporary like other bodies, it is meaningful because in human life one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection.
So we should do it immediately. We should not waste time.
Hmm.
So therefore, our purpose should be trying to pray to our spiritual master and follow all the rules and regulations and try to carry on. And in this way, this determination will formulate in our heart. And of course, a pure devotee does not want to go back, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. She says, I just want to serve you lifetime after lifetime of lifetime. These are all very
Hmm.
high, purified desires, which a devotee will eventually get anyway. He doesn't care whether he takes birth or he leaves or not. As long as he can serve the Lord, he's very happy. Of course, these are very
Hmm.
high realizations. But for one who has got Krishna, then he doesn't care. He goes to hell or go to heaven. He go anywhere. He doesn't care. You know that verse, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
What is that?
6, 7, 28. 6, 17, 28. Narayana para sarve nagotaschana vidyate. Swargapavarga narkeshva pitulyarthi darshan.
Can read?
The screen is taking a while. Okay. Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such, devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord.
See, the devotees, you see here, another thing about the devotee is very amazing. They are everything that can be achieved by fruitive activities, penance, knowledge, detachment, mystic yoga, charity, religious duty, and all other means of perfecting life, easily achieved by my devotee through loving service unto me. If somehow or other my devotee desires promotion to heaven, liberation, or residence in my abode, he easily achieves such benediction. See? But you see how the devotee is thinking. See, because my devotee possess saintly behavior and deep intelligence, they completely dedicate themselves to me and did not desire anything beside me. Indeed, even if I offer them liberation from birth and death, they do not accept it.
Hmm.
So you see how the mood of a devotee is. They don't want nothing but Krishna. So they are not frightened if death were to come or this were to come or what to come. They are fearless. An example is given, no? Prabhupada explained about a child. If you go and attack him, he will definitely scream. But if he's holding his father's hand, you go to him, he will be so bold to even beat you back.
Hmm.
As a child become fearless because he's holding his father's hand.
Hmm.
So the same example, if we hold the hand of the Lord, then what has that got to do? That's why Parichit Maharaj was saying, I'm very fearless now. Let anything come, I'm not frightened. Huh? So try to understand, this science. This is, I think, the prayer of Parichet Maharaj. I think it's 119. If I give me a minute. So the king is saying, yeah, you see here, this is how he's praying. See, or before even he meet Parikshit Maharaj, is already, oh Brahmanas, just accept me as a completely surrendered soul and let Mother Ganges, the representative of the Lord, also accept me in that way. For I have already taken the shelter, taken the lotus feet of the Lord into my heart. Let the snake bird or whatever magical thing the Brahmana created bite me at once. I only desire that you all continue singing the deeds of Lord Vishnu. So you see how devotee, they are fearless. In fact, there's another verse, very interesting, just to show you, share with you. I think this is the verse. Can you read, please?
Anybody else would like to read? Ambarish Guru, Mukesh Guru.
Materialists are generally very attached to their present bodily comforts and to the bodily comforts they expect in the future. Therefore, they are always absorbed in thoughts of their wives, children, wealth, and are afraid of giving up their bodies, which are full of stool and urine. If a person engaged in Krishna consciousness, however, is also afraid of giving up his body, what is the use of his having labored to study the Shastras? It was simply a waste of time.
Yes?
Yes.
So we should not become frightened. We should become fearless. Any other questions?
Uh, Prabhu, I have just a quick question.
Don't worry, we have a lot of time. You can be a long question as well.
So, oh, what happened to this when the Yamadudas take the subtle body? That subtle body has the same face of that say human, and then they're gonna punish to hell. After that, they will take birth again in a lower form. But that punishment is only just a fragment of seconds in the early time, and when they take birth again on a lower species of life.
It when they go to hell and suffer there, according to the seriousness of the punishment, they suffer that period of time. But yes, comparing to our time, there the time is very long, but that time is very short for us.
Okay.
Just like our time in comparing to the heavenly planet, our time is long, but their time is short. 6 months here is only one day there. So our time compared to the spiritual world, that time is also very, very short. So when they finish their suffering in the hellish planet, yes, you're right, they will start again from the lowest form. But that is also very painful, correct? There are 8.4 million species. If you say you take one species, let's say you take 1 year, how many millions of years before you can come back to human form? Calculate.
Yes.
Huh? Is this a good deal? Go to hell and come back to human platform again after 8.4 million years. That is a very nice thing to do. Huh?
Not good. So, which means, Prabhu, say example for the example of Bharat Maharaj,
Hmm.
which means he's a devotee, he never went to hell. He just take birth immediately into that deer.
Yes, Prabhupada said,
There's no
Prabhupada,
such thing as this.
he
Yeah.
didn't, he did not need to go to hell because he was thinking of the body of a deer, so he took the form of a deer.
Mm, okay.
So there are also cases of the Swamijis who fall down. So they will take birth in the form of an animal or a plant or whatever. And when they finish that term, then they go back to the spiritual world.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
You don't want to do that, huh?
No, I'm just asking because some of our relatives may be in the hell by now, and then it is our worry what kind of punishment they are
No, no.
suffering by now.
Now you worry about yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you are chanting, your relatives will be delivered.
Hmm.
Understand? That's the power of you chanting. The moment you become a devotee, then all your relatives get delivered.
So that is also a case, Prabhu, that whether we are a devotee by now, there always a point that they're also there in the hell at this time, or or no,
No, the
our
moment, the
relatives.
moment, the moment you chant, your relatives get delivered. They don't have to suffer in hell anymore.
Oh,
Yes,
either they are living as a devotee by now, and
yes.
also.
They will
Hmm.
be delivered. How they will be delivered, that's within the Lord and them.
Okay.
So that's for a
Eh,
devotee who chants is very, very. That's why devotees are the most auspicious people. Just by you chanting, so many people are benefiting, so many souls. That's why a devotee is a very, 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 very rare soul. That's why Krishna tells Arjuna, no, by all means become a devotee. Right.
okay, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Anybody else want to add something? How you like today's class?
Yeah, this is very nice. We should have this more often, Prabhu, if possible. If it is convenient for you, we should probably. Sunday can be the Philippines day, like Saturday is taken by India.
No.
Actually, Ricky Prabhu was not able to come online. He was really looking forward to this. I don't know what is keeping him busy. Maybe his car broke down. He said he was getting it fixed. So for some reason, he was not able to come online today. For the last few days, he was saying already, yes, I'm really looking forward to that. It's been a while since we spoke to Sundar Gopal Prabhu. And I
Never
think
mind.
Mataji is also busy doing something else there.
Next
She
uh,
also did not come online.
next week we can have no problem. I'm ready. I think you can call more people to come online also. That'd be good for them. want to ask questions. There's so many things you have in your mind. But when you come to the class, then all this dirty thing in the heart disappears. I'll show you one verse. Huh? This verse, you can see how it's so.
For the time being, everybody forgets envy and everything.
Mhm. Whenever pure topics of transcendental world are discussed, the members of the audience forget all kinds of material anchoring, and at least for the time being. Not only that, but they are no longer envious of one another, nor do they suffer from anxiety or fear. So at least, we come to here, we get purified. That's also another verse. This verse is very relevant. If somehow or other, if one is attracted to talks about me and has faith in the instruction as I have set forth in the Bhagavad Gita, and if one is neither falsely detached from material things nor very much attracted to material existence, his dormant love for me will be awakened by devotional service. Somehow or other, if one is attracted to talks about me. This is from the 11th canto, but translated by Prabhupada differently. 11, 8, I think. 11:28, I think. So please try to understand. There's also another verse. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about Him from others. Because of your tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death.
Even if they just simply hear.
Uh, so just have to hear, and even you don't have much knowledge, nothing, never mind. Just hear and have faith. Of course, faith is important. No faith, then no point. No. So, thank you very much for giving me your nice association.